G'day and welcome to day 2 of Financial Literacy Week. I've got to say, my computer's a bit laggy here. So if someone comes in and tells me we've got a problem, we have to restart the stream. If we don't, we are going to kick off day 2 of Financial Literacy Week. Thank you for joining us for day 2 of 5, where I'm going to try and give you, remember yesterday, I hope you watched, the information and the motivation to take control of your finances and make every post a winner from here. That's exactly what we're going to try and do today and for the rest of this week, including on Friday, a full Q&A. So if you've got questions, feel free to throw them in the chat right now. I see Raymond's already thrown one in. Thank you, Raymond, for doing that. If you are someone who hasn't yet had a chance to throw your question in, do it right now. You can do it while we're chatting, while I'm chatting, and I'll see if I can get to some of those questions either today or later in the week, depending on kind of where they fit, right? We don't want to kind of traipse over some content that we'll otherwise cover a little bit later on. We'll have to see how that pans out. Right. So what I want to do first is talk to you a little bit, really short recap about yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about the power of savings and compounding. Compounding is kind of one of those investment words that we'll get into later. But the bottom line is, if you want to secure for yourself the financial future that you want, now, within constraints, I can't promise you're going to win a lotto and I can't make you a millionaire, at least not anytime soon. But you have to take control. You have to firstly know that it's doable. You have to be able to take the steps you need to take, and you need to believe you can do it. Remember, we talked about the snowball yesterday. The idea of once you get things off and running, it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the beauty of compounding, by the way. Here's a quick stat. You might know Warren Buffett from Berkshire Hathaway. Maybe you don't know the company name. You probably know Buffett. He is the world's most famous investor, probably the best investor we've ever seen. He earned something like, I think it's 99%, let me be conservative and say 95%, of all of his total wealth after his 55th birthday. Now, the bloke's lived a long time. He's 92, so that helps. But the idea is, think about compounding, right? The money you make gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time. The more money you put away, the longer you leave that money, the better it compounds, the more money you will have. And it starts today. It starts this week. That is what Financial Literacy Week is about. All right. Can I throw the glass on because I need these ones? Let's have a look at what we're going to talk about today. First thing I want to do is talk to you about, well, this is the Eat Your Broccoli session. Okay. Now, if you want a silver bullet, if you thought I was going to come here and give you some magic formula that you can all of a sudden make $1 squillion just because you wanted to, you're in the wrong place and I've given you the wrong impression. I hope what I told you yesterday, I hope what you know by now from us at the Motley Fool is we're going to give it to you straight. So this is the tough love session. This is the Eat Your Broccoli session. But here's why that's important. If you get yourself sorted out, if you can start in the right place, if you can know what you're doing and get on with it, that is really going to work for you. And that's what this session is all about, is making sure we've given you the tools, you've got the information you need, and you're doing the things you need to do. I used the example yesterday of losing weight and getting fit. And again, you might suggest that I need to take my own advice, and I probably would agree with you. But the idea of just having to do the work, you can't get away from doing the work, right? It's just going through the motions, doing it over and over and over again, because we know slow and steady wins the race, right? So if you're here for the silver bullet, log off, go and have lunch, do something else. This is not for you. If you're someone who says, you know what, I know I'm going to have to work at this, but I know that it's worth doing. Whether it's whatever you're saving for. We talked yesterday about a new car, retirement, a new home, financial freedom, the ability to retire if and when you want to. If that's what you're here for, then you're in the right place. And we're going to go through the steps. Some of the steps anyway, we've got more this week. Some of the steps you need to take control of your financial future. Right. So here's the first thing I'm going to tell you. And this is, by the way, as I said yesterday, this is all really straightforward stuff, right? What I'm trying to do is lay it out for you and then give you the motivation to go and do it. So if you want to get rich, save, do whatever it is you're saving your money for, whatever you want to do in your financial life, you can't do any of that unless you've got the money to save. And again, as I said yesterday, there are some people who might be watching who are like, you know what? I'm just desperately scraping by. And if that's you, I'm sorry you're in that position. I hope you get out of it pretty quickly. I'll talk about some of those things, by the way. Some of you thinking that may not be there. So a fair warning. If that's you, though, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much I can do if your options are limited. But for everyone else listening or watching, this is all about the things you can do to make a difference. You need the money left over. There's two parts to that, right? How do you have money left over? You start with your earnings, your income. Look at your expenses. Two parts of the same story. Again, you know this. You need to live below your means. LBYM, live below your means. What does that mean? It means no matter how much you're earning, you got to spend less, because whatever's left over is what you get to use to compound. Remember, money makes money, to compound for your financial future. That's exactly what you have to do. If you don't do that, if your income is not greater than your expenses, we're all wasting our time here. So what can you do? The first thing is your income. Now, here's where things get interesting. So stick with me. You need to invest in yourself. Now, I don't mean by that go to expensive motivational speaking courses or buy yourself a new outfit so you look better or feel better. I mean invest in your earning potential. Does that sound like fun? No. Is it important? Yes. Is it worthwhile? Absolutely. Simple example. We know that people who have university degrees earn meaningfully more on average than people without them, right? Pretty straightforward. Yes, you've got to give up 2, 3, 4 years of your life to do that. I'm not saying everyone should get a university degree, by the way. I'm using an example. That's the trade-off. So here's the thing. You need to invest in yourself, in your own earning potential. Think about the job that you do and think about what you could do to be better at that job or to get a promotion. And again, this is not rocket science, guys. This is no great unveil, right? These are the eat your broccoli steps. So how can you earn more money, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, or shift work if you're a shift worker, whatever you're doing, how can you earn more money doing that? Well, you can either, a few things you can do firstly. You can do better at your job, which gives you the chance to earn more money. Maybe it's a bonus, maybe it's a promotion, maybe it's something else. Earn more money in the current job you're doing. That's the first one, right? Second thing, a different or similar career based on more time, effort at work, or education outside work. In other words, make yourself more employable. Maybe your boss pays you more to stay. Maybe you get a promotion. Maybe you take more money and go and work elsewhere. Again, do these sound obvious? Yes, of course they are. Is it hard work? Yeah, sometimes it really is. Does your boss deserve your extra effort? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters to you and I, financially at least, is whether we're doing enough work to earn more money, either in the current job or somewhere else. Get a mentor. Find someone who can help you do your job better and demonstrate your worth. Ideally, someone at your workplace or someone in your industry or a friend or family member who you trust and you know can help you become a better employee. No, not to become a better worker bee. I'm not here to say that bosses deserve your time. This is about you, not about your boss. Now, obviously, a win-win is best for everybody, right? Because it's probably more morally appropriate, but also, the boss is going to want to give you more money if you can demonstrate more value. But the idea is you need to become, if you can, to the extent you can, and most of us can, better at your job, more able to earn a higher income. Again, if that feels too hard, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You're going to have to do the work for me, because I can tell you what you should do. You can laugh at me, you can say I'm silly, you can do whatever you want. But if you want to make a difference, you've got to go and find a way to earn more money. One of the two options. The other is expensive. We'll get to those. So get a promotion, get another job, do better at your current job. All those things matter and matter a lot. If you're not being appropriately rewarded at work, go and find another job. Yeah, I know you like the job. I know you like the people. I know it's convenient and comfortable, and that's fine. But as the old saying goes, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Easiest option, as I said, is internally at your own company, find a mentor, work with your boss, demonstrate more value, get a promotion, change roles, demonstrate that value. Here at the Motley Fool, we have plenty of people who have been through, particularly the investing team. I started as a writer on fool.com.au way back in the day. I was freelancing for a couple of articles a week. And then I was offered a full-time job. And then I was offered the opportunity to run the service that we have at the Motley Fool. Then I was made director of research. Then I was made chief investment officer. Now, not everyone can be that chief investment officer. Some of our team, are going to be the next director of research, the next chief investment officer. Others don't want to be. That's, again, completely fine. But if you want to earn more money, you're going to have to step outside that comfort zone, do something different. That's enough of that one. Secondly, you reckon that was tough? You're going to have to look at your expenses. Now, again, how much is left over at the end of the week, end of the fortnight, end of the month? We'll get to budgeting in a second. Let's start just with how much is left. You can earn more. That helps. or you can spend less. You've got to live below your means. The below bit, earn more, spend less. You're probably saying, well, hang on, I can't spend any less. Maybe you can't. Could you perhaps maybe not have as many coffees in a week? Simple example, really cliched example. By the way, this is not the housing affordability thing. This is not the smash dabo question. This is just how much money do you have left? How much do you want to have left? And if you want to have more, how do you go about getting that money? The choice is yours. I'm not criticizing you. I'm not judging anybody who's watching this or not watching this. I'm simply saying the maths are the maths are the math, and you're either in or you're out. So start with the coffees. Add the beers or the wine. Add the cocktails. Add the spending on a dinner out. New jacket, a new toy, new technology, the streaming services, the whatever else is you're doing that you're spending money on. Now, again, you might say to me, but I like those things. I need those things. They make me happy. It's just a few dollars. Again, completely up to you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not telling you what you should do. What I'm saying is unless you find the savings, you can't start adding those together and creating more wealth for yourself. It just doesn't work that way. So what are the things you can cut down on? If you thought that was tough, I know that this was a tough love session, right? Let's go to the next one. Two big expenses for people, their homes and their cars. Now, this is where stuff really gets real. If you have a car lease, you are burning money. You just are. Okay? Again, tough love time, right? You don't. I drive. I'm not perfect, by the way, and this is just my thing, not yours. I drive a second-hand Toyota Hilux. We bought it 2020. We have a ex-demo Prado that we bought in 2016. That's our choices. You can have something different. Don't have a Hilux or a Prado. My point is, neither of those cars is or was financed. We didn't take a lease on those cars because Dave Ramsey, the great US personal finance commentator, talks about not a car lease, but a car fleece, as in you are being fleeced. If you're addicted to new cars, to replacing your car, if you're doing it for the tax deduction, guess what? You are being taken for a ride, no pun intended. You are paying for the enjoyment of driving a new car because you want to. And that's cool. I will say a couple of times more. You do whatever you want. I'm simply saying to you, if you're spending money on that stuff, that is money that's not going somewhere else, the repayments alone, massive. Now, let's say you're not leasing a car. I hope you're not. Let's say you're not leasing a car. Let's say you borrow money to buy a car or you own an expensive car. Okay, do you need that car? I mean, you want it, sure. I get it. Do you need it? And what else could you do with the money you either spending paying it off or you could get if you sold it and bought a cheaper car? Now, no one wants to buy a cheaper car. We all love cars as status symbols, right? Well, some of us do, not all of us. Some of us do. What if you bought a cheaper car? What if you stopped paying that car loan? How much money would be left over? Yes, you need a car, but you need that car? Probably not. I'm going to tell you a horribly embarrassing and painful financial story. When I was 25 or so, I think it was about 25, I got a promotion at work. I was working for a food company, and I was an analyst for the food company. And they gave me a job as an accountant. And along with that came a car allowance or a company car. So I get a company car to drive around for nothing, part of the package, or I take the money and I had a car allowance, right? I could go and spend them. I didn't have to spend the money on it, but I could take the money and go and buy or lease myself a car. I took the lease option, much to my chagrin subsequently, because I was young and silly and I was a bit full of myself and full of ego, and I thought, I've made it. I'm now one of those people over there who get paid more and who have their nice company cars or fancy cars. I'm going to do that. Now I thought, well, actually, no, I'm not silly. I'm a smart guy, right? So I'm not going to go and blow it on an expensive car. I'm going to get one of the cheaper ones. So I bypassed the Mercs and the BMWs and the Audis. I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll buy a Volkswagen because it seemed like it seems like the responsible choice for a bloke who really was trying to do the right thing by his finances. So I went past the Audi A4s and the BMW 3 Series and all that kind of stuff, and I went to the Volkswagen. And I bought a Passat. Now, if you don't know the Passat, it's basically a wagon, kind of, Audi A4 size, mid-size sedan type thing. And I got the car lease. Now, even though it was cheaper than those other cars, I think the sticker price was about 60 grand, something like that. And this is a long time ago. I don't know what they are now. Haven't bought one since, you'll be happy to know. And I thought, okay, that's what I'll do. I'm a smart guy. I'll do that. So I got the cheap version. I got the cheap car, but I leased it still. because that's what you do. And I paid it off for 3 or 4 years, and then I paid the final payment of 24 grand, I think rings a bell. It might have been that, something like that. And then I finally had this car. Now, I worked out the numbers not long ago. If I had, at 25, invested that money in the stock market, in an average return, now I don't know what the future will necessarily bring. It's a long time ago now, but still a long time, hopefully till retirement. If I'd have invested that money, I probably cost myself, and I can't remember the exact numbers I did, but well over $500,000 of potential compound returns. Now, we talked yesterday about from 30 years, turning 10 grand to 130 grand. Do the numbers with me. If I started with 60 grand instead of 10, which is effectively what I paid for the car over that few years' time, I did that for 30 years. What's 6 times 130? That's about $780,000. That car was expensive at 60 grand. It was stupidly more expensive at what I probably cost myself $750,000 because I was stupid enough to think I wanted to drive a brand new car and I thought it was fancy and clever and smart. Now, I'm not saying don't enjoy your life. Do what you need to do. What I am saying is that was a very, my retirement will be $750,000 worse off because I made a very bad decision. Now, can't change the past. What you can change is the future. If you have a car lease, stop it. Pay it off, get rid of it, do what you need to do. Just make that thing go away. Turn down your expectations. Spend less money, preferably on a used car, because you buy new and drive it off the lot, you appreciate it straight away. Trust me. I sold that Passat eventually, by the way, and I think I still had 6 or 7 grand owing on the loan. So just horrible story. Trust me when I say car leases are terrible things. They also, by the way, addict you to new cars. You think, oh, well, you know what people do? They say the car lease is cheaper than buying the car outright because I get tax deductions and whatever else. That's probably true for most people, except that means you would buy buying a new car every 3 years for the rest of your life. So if you're going to do that anyway, is it cheaper? I guess with a tax deduction. Should you do that? No, of course you shouldn't do that. But we get tricked into it because we start to compare against not what I could do else with the money, but am I saving a little bit of tax? Don't get me started on other tax deductions. So I'm going to go to the last one here. And this is, if the car was bad, how much are you paying in rent? How much are you paying on your mortgage for the place you're living? And how much could you save if you made different choices? Now, is that pretty radical? Absolutely it is. Who in their right mind would go to a cheaper place to rent or sell their house and go and buy something cheaper? What sort of crazy talk is that? It's crazy talk only if you don't want to make money. If you could pay $100 a week less in rent, it's $5 grand a year. Pay $200 less in a mortgage, $10,000 a year. Now, we talked about that 10 grand being worth 130 grand, right? If you missed that yesterday, by the way, quick one. 10 grand invested in the stock market 30 years ago, compounded to $130,000 30 years later, doing absolutely nothing. If you can save $10,000 a year, though, rather than $10,000 once off, start doing the maths. If you can do it for 35 or 40 years, start doing the maths. Do you want to do it? No. Does it feel good? No. Should you do it? You decide. What I am telling you is you can save a lot of money by making some better choices. And I mentioned the coffees before, right? And plenty of it's the stupid housing affordability rubbish. You're not going to be able to afford a house or not based on a smashed avo. But, and by the way, same thing with coffee. Save a coffee a day, it's $20 a week. It's not going to be, $1,000 a year. Good, it's good. You should do it. It's not going to make a house affordable. But if you could save $100 or $200 a week, we're not talking about a cup of coffee, are we? Things get pretty real pretty fast. Does that mean you got to make some big life choices? Absolutely. Should you? Up to you. Do you want to be financially free? Do you want to retire when you want? Do you want to be able to afford the other stuff? Do you want to do you want to get rid of those debts? Do you want to have the amount of money to say to the boss, thanks, but no thanks? You choose. I think there's opportunity there. I've been a bit tough today. I don't intend to be. Well, I do intend to be, actually. I hope I'm not coming across as brash or rude or thoughtless. I've been there. I've absolutely been there. I was living in Melbourne a very long time ago, and I got down to the point where I was paying too much for rent. So, by the way, I made all these mistakes. That's the other thing, right? This is not some silver spoon bloke. I'm a son of a fiery and a nurse. There's no silver spoon here. I've been there. I bought the stupid car. I rented a place when I moved to Melbourne, which was just stupidly expensive. It was a beautiful place, lovely place, great living there, awesome. Except it cost me a fortune, absolute fortune. And so I got to a point when I was in Melbourne where there wasn't much left in the bank account at one point. I got down to a very, very uncomfortable level of savings at one point. So I've been there. I know what it takes. I know what it's like. I've done these things myself. I've had the promotion. I've changed jobs. I've got rid of the car. I've sold the Passat and bought an old Holden Vectra, which was about 3 or 4 years old, an ex-company car from the company I was working for at the time. I made those changes. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. I had that epiphany of, this is stupid. I moved to a cheaper place for renting. I bought a cheaper car. I've done these things. I know what it's like. I've done the postgraduate study. I went back to uni. I'm not saying it's right for everybody. What I'm saying is these things can be done. I've done them. Not for everybody. I'm not perfect. Trust me, I'm not perfect. Ask my wife. But what I am saying is there are opportunities for you to do these things as well if you want to, once you understand the power of absolutely taking those actions. So let me get to a few other things quickly. I'm going to talk to you about budgeting, but I'm going to talk to you about budgeting tomorrow in detail. What I want you to do for me today is think about where your money goes. Now, we've already talked about some of those big things. We've talked about, frankly, we talked about coffee and dinners out and clothes and whatever else you're going to buy, toys. The other stuff, by the way, is the car and the house. For some people too, if you're on a decent wicket, what you probably do is you save up enough money and then it kind of burns the hole in your pocket. Maybe you go and take a trip. Maybe you go and replace the sofa or the computer or the TV. Humans we're horribly, horribly biologically unevolved to handle money. We've evolved beautifully to escape from the lion on the savannah. We've developed to gorge ourselves on sweet foods because when the food wasn't available, we had the calories on board to see us through. We've evolved beautifully over many thousands, tens of thousands of years. Money is relatively new. The current financial system, probably a couple of 100 years old. We're not evolving that quickly. You just can't. So what we need to do is beat our own evolution at its own game. And that's exactly what all this stuff is about. So when I say budgeting, what I'm really saying is think about where your money is going. Just start that thought process for me now. We'll talk a bit about how to think about budgeting tomorrow. What I want you to do is think about where the money goes. All those things you could potentially cut back should you choose to. And why I want you to think about that is I want you to start thinking about contrasting the things that you would have to give up with the things that you can get, right? The other problem with human evolution is we really struggle to think into the future. If I've got an 11-year-old, he can't think past next week. Whenever there's money in his bank account, he wants to spend it right now. And even saving up for a couple of weeks for the next thing is way beyond him. And that's not his fault. Again, it's evolution and it's a frontal lobe that hasn't yet developed, and he's a great kid. But if you think about the 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, hopefully 30 or 40 years time. And by the way, when I say 40 years time, if you're watching this, you're an adult, once you've got through, frankly, some of the childhood and teen causes of death, your life expectancy is huge. The average life expectancy in Australia is 83 for blokes, I think about 85 for women. That's the average. Once you get past childhood, that goes up meaningfully. Once you get to 40 or 50 or 60, it goes up again. Now, if you're 55 and watching this, you're probably going to live for another 30 or 35 years. Don't think about 10 years to retirement. Think about 35 or 40 years. All right, if you're 25, you might have the best part of 75 years left. So think about the long term here. No matter what your age, if you're 85 and a half, then thank you for watching. I can help you a little bit with some of those savings, but I can't do much in terms of compounding because there's not enough years left for it to happen. I mean that rudely, and I apologize to anybody I've offended. But if you're 45, 55, 35, 25, the world is your oyster, absolute oyster. I'll go through some basic compound maths, maybe tomorrow. It'll blow your mind. Just honestly, once you grasp compounding, it changes your mind. It really, really does. Think about where your money goes when you're budgeting. Think about what you spend money on. And by the way, if you don't know, that's okay. But there's the first clue, right? You've got to get your head around it. When you don't know what you don't know, very, very difficult. The key message, the key lesson for next week, or for tomorrow, is pay yourself first. So many people, myself included, used to get to the end of a pay period and go, well, it's a week till I get paid again, and I kind of ran out of money. I guess I'll do noodles for a couple of days and just wait till the money hits the bank account. When you do that, when you wait to see what's left, you're not very disciplined. You think it's all available to be spent. And again, like everyone else, you kind of get to the point of like, oh, wow, that went quickly. I didn't realize I didn't have that much money left. And that's okay. It's not a criticism. Again, there's no judgment here, right? I've been through it. I've been that person. I'm trying to help you hopefully learn from my experience so you don't have to make the same mistakes yourself. When you pay yourself first, what does that mean? It means when you get paid on payday, take some money out and put it in the savings account. Eventually, we'll talk about investing it. For now, put it in the savings account. Whether it's $10 a pay, $50 a pay, $100 a pay, $200 a pay if you're lucky enough, if you can afford that. By the way, some of the things we've just talked about will help you get there. When you put that aside and you don't ever touch it, the money never comes out, right? That money gets saved or invested, never comes back out. A cast iron golden rule, never, ever. What if you need that money? We'll get to that tomorrow. I'm going to have some ideas for that. But for now, for our purposes, the money goes away, never, ever comes back out, gets invested or saved, compounds away. That's the snowball we're rolling down the hill. You've got to stick to that. But when you do that, then all you do is spend what's left. Now, some people are absolute budgeters. I'm a bit of a finance nerd. It might surprise you to hear that. I had a program called Microsoft Money back in the day, very, very long time ago. And you could put in every single expense. So I go through my bank account. I spent $20 on petrol and $50 on groceries. And it was a long time ago, as I said, that was possible once upon a time. And whatever it was, there was no Netflix because it didn't exist. You could see where the money was going. And you look at that after a month and go, oh my God, I spent what? Where? Oh man, that's brutal. And look at by category, by whatever it was. Now, if that's you, do that because it's really, really powerful. If that's not you, that's okay. The beauty of paying yourself first is that you're only going to spend what's left. That's the maximum you can spend, right? As long as you promise yourself you'll never, ever touch that savings account, you'll only spend what's left. And that means that savings, that money you're putting aside is always going to be there because you're not waiting to see what's left. You're taking that money out and then spending up to what's left. The other thing quickly too on that is if you're the sort of person who likes games, computer games, board games, some of the brightest minds in advertising and marketing are using their power against us. And they're what we call it gamifying. So they gamify things. They make it seem like a fun game. And you know what it's like if you play computer games, the regular rewards, for example, you get, they make it seem like fun, like a game, and it gets you addicted, gets you in. You can use that for yourself. Gamifying savings is something a lot of people do to make it worth their while. Celebrate the $5, the $10, the $20. Tick it off, put it on a list, see if you can beat yourself. Whatever it is you need to do to get yourself into that mode is really, really worth doing. But if you do nothing else, pay yourself first. Take some money out on payday. Transfer it immediately. In a perfect world, get your payroll office to split your pay if they'll do that. Put your investing money over there, the rest of your money over here. Only ever spend that cash. We're running out of time pretty quickly. Last thing I want to tell you about is my favorite hashtag that I invented. And I say it because I did, but also no one else has taken it up, so I'm not bragging. Hashtag get a better rate. The simplest and easiest way, I've left this till the end, the simplest and easiest way to save money is to do exactly what you're doing already and pay less for it. And if that sounds too good to be true, it's not. Think about if you have a mortgage, the odds you have the best mortgage, the best product. There's probably a couple hundred mortgage products out there from all the different banks, financial institutions. Even each bank's got multiple versions of it. So there's probably, I don't know, there might be 100, 200. What are the odds you've got the very best mortgage in the market for you? Probably really small, right? Because you probably haven't checked for a while. And even if you have, things have changed. So the odds you're getting the best possible rate are really small. So what do? Go and find a better rate. Hashtag get a better rate. That's what it's about. Think about your insurances, car insurance, home insurance, contents insurance, health insurance, pet insurance. What are the chances you've got the best possible policy for all of those insurances? Pretty close to zero. Me included, by the way. I should do it too. Think about your electricity. Think about your gas. What are the chances you've got the best possible rate for electricity and gas? Pretty low, I would suggest. Cash in the bank. Have you got the highest returning savings account? Probably not. How long since you checked? Probably a very long time. And this is free money, guys. This is free money. This is literally save $10 a month on your insurance. Save $100 a month on your mortgage. Whatever it is you need to do, go and call your providers right now. Is it fun? Not really. It's really easy though. You know what you do? You look at what you're paying. Grab your online bank statement, grab your insurance policy, whatever it is, find out how much you're paying. And then so here's what you do. Look that up. Google best mortgage rate. And you see that XYZ Bank's offering, 5.99% you might be able to get at the moment, maybe paying 6.5%. So call your own bank first. Say, hey, I realize that so-and-so is doing this. I don't really want to leave my bank because I like banking with you guys. It's a hassle, but I will if you can't match the rate. What can you do for me? I reckon easily 8 times out of 10, probably 9, frankly. They'll find you a better rate if you're not on the best rate already. That's money for jam. If you have to change, I don't want to change, there's paperwork involved. How much would you do to save $100 or $1,000? Now multiply that over the life of your mortgage. Or if you're going to drive a car for the next 40 years, because you probably are, because I am, imagine how much you could save on your insurance policy, your electricity, your water. You get the idea, right? Get a better rate. It is the simplest and easiest way to save a buck and start paying yourself first with the savings. And again, remember, once you get that snowball rolling, once you get the satisfaction of here's what's going on, here's what's coming next, this is fantastic, I want to do more of this, you are well and truly on your way. That's it for today, guys. Tomorrow, I'm going to share with you some very specific steps that I want you to take to get your financial life in order, to start building that financial freedom that I figure, if you're still watching, you really, really want. And I have absolutely, passionately believe the opportunity is massive for almost everybody watching this right now. All right, we've got some questions from Raymond. Raymond, you asked a question last session. I will answer this one on Friday. I'm sorry, mate. The reason I say that is because a bit like Hassan yesterday, the combination of questions are great, but they kind of require an amount of assumed knowledge. And I'm going to build that knowledge over the next couple of days. So Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to keep building your knowledge. Friday, we're going to answer your questions. So Raymond wants to know, should he sell his home, invest it in a diversified ETF? Hassan wants to know whether I'm a technical or fundamental investor. I'll get to that on Friday as well. Marianne, I'm sorry, Marianne, you're asking about investing in shares and loss. Again, I'm going to answer those questions. In fact, I'm going to ask the team to grab a screenshot of that right now. Somebody behind me, you can't see them, they're off to the side. They'll grab a screenshot of this to make sure I get back to this question on Friday. I'm trying to make you wait. I don't mean to do that. Just if I start going off in other directions about some specific topics without covering the topics in the first place, we won't have the assumed knowledge to make sure everybody can join in on the answer and I can help them with that. So I'm sorry to kind of make you wait. I think it's worth waiting for because it's not about this particular topic. It's about investing, which we will cover, by the way. So Thursday is an investing day. How to get started investing, how to think about investing, how to build a portfolio. We'll do that really, really simply come Thursday's session. But tomorrow, we're going to set up our structures and make sure we're ready to start compounding that snowball. Then we can talk about investing on Thursday, and on Friday, I'll get to these questions and a whole lot more. Thank you for watching. I've taken a little bit longer than I should have. I'll be yelled at by someone outside. I got a bit passionate, a bit carried away. Thank you for watching. I've hopefully been able to impart something of use for you. As you can tell, as I said, I'm a little bit passionate about this, but we will get you there. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the same time, 12:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, or wherever you are around the country, make those adjustments. Until then, as I said last time, as we say at the Motley Fool, Fool on.